Have you ever met someone who always asks the best questions? Do you have someone in your life who can draw out your deepest personal truth with just the right question at just the right time? Do you know someone who can bring life and joy and fun to any conversation with just the right inquiry? On the other hand, have you ever met someone who asks so many questions that they're just incredibly annoying? What if someone spoke to you only in question form? Wouldn't that be something? Could you do it? Could you end every sentence you spoke with a question mark? Why would you even try? Could you imagine how hard that would be? Do you have stories your mom always tells about you like I do that have shaped the way you think about yourself? Does your mom, like my mom, tell those stories over and over to everyone she meets? Would you believe me if I told you that my mom always said that as a very small child, I would constantly, curiously, and very cutely ask, "What's that?" about everything I saw? Is this story really true? How would I know? Do you think that little motherly anecdote has shaped my self-identity? What do you think? When did I lose my curiosity? When did I lose my trademark sense of wonder? When did I lose my deep comfort with uncertainty? Have you lost yours? What if I told you that I believe we are experiencing a curiosity drought? What if I told you that I am absolutely certain that our society is desperately lacking uncertainty? What if our society stopped asking questions? What would that be like? Would we stop believing each other? Would we stop engaging in thoughtful dialogue with one another? Would we start only watching news channels that we agreed with or following social media profiles that already reinforced our deeply held certainties? Can you imagine living in a world like that? Will you all allow me to ask you a few more questions? Will you consider every question I ask from this point forward for its impact on you personally and on society? Yes. If at any point during this talk I speak a sentence that is not in question form, will you make me do 20 push-ups right here on the TEDx stage? Yes. If I'm able to complete this entire talk entirely in question form, will you all give me a round of applause that will make me the envy of every other TED speaker in history? Shouldn't we celebrate curiosity more? Why is curiosity something that seems to be reserved only for small children or recently deceased cats? Aren't curious human adults some of the most interesting, intelligent, and easy to connect with people you know? Shouldn't we be more curious? Shouldn't curiosity just be part of our everyday life more? Shouldn't we make it a discipline to be curious and uncertain in every part of our life? Wouldn't it make us a better person? Wouldn't it make us a better classmate, a better coworker, a better boss? Wouldn't it make us a better partner, a better parent, a better human? Shouldn't we celebrate curiosity more? Have you seen the recent studies that show that deeper levels of curiosity lead to higher academic performance, more hope, better memory, and a deeper sense of life purpose? Have you seen the other studies that show that workplaces that celebrate and uplift curiosity and experimentation have healthier employees, happier employees, and higher levels of productivity? Wouldn't you also think that our family lives would benefit from more celebration of curiosity, but don't we too often stifle our overly curious children? Doesn't it seem obvious that we should be preparing our young people to be as curious as possible, but don't standardize tests and way too much of our education system actually penalize uncertainty and demotivate curiosity? What are we so afraid of? Why are we so afraid of incorporating curiosity into our life? Do you think that most people avoid curiosity because they're constantly seeking to not be wrong and to always be right? Have you noticed this? Have you noticed that now more than ever, people are trying every day to prove to everyone around them that they are right? And have you noticed that if people aren't certain that they're right, they'll try to be the loudest, the snarkiest, the most cutting, or the most liked? Isn't this damaging? Isn't this damaging to society and civilization? Have you noticed that people are trying to convince everyone that their religious beliefs, their political positions, and their personal points of view are the only possible paths forward? Isn't this problematic? Shouldn't we be unsure a little bit more? Am I arguing for an ignoring of facts? Am I suggesting that we disregard scientific truths or empirical evidence? Do you really think I'd be okay with that? What if I was simply offering permission and encouragement to be unsure a little more often? Don't you agree that to actually change the world and not just rearrange it, we need to ask more and better questions? Don't you agree that to create a more just, tolerant, and understanding world, we need to ask more and better questions? Don't you agree that to move beyond the sound bites, the memes, the tweets, and the protest chants that fail to capture the deep nuance of the true lived condition, we need to ask more and better questions? Don't you agree that we just so often misunderstand each other and we should just ask more and better questions? Don't you agree that our broken personal relationships, our family drama, and our workplace stressors would benefit from us asking more and better questions? Don't you agree? What if you asked 10% more questions every day? What if every day you just turned up the frequency of question asking by about 10%? How would that change you? How would that change you as a person? How would that change you as a boss, a coworker, a family member, a neighbor, a parent, a partner? What if you just asked 10% more questions every day? If I offered you a little help, would you be willing to turn up the level of curiosity in your life? If I offered you a little help, would you be willing to turn up the level of curiosity in your life? Well, would you? Will you add depth to your conversations? Will you not just ask the surface level questions, but instead go at least one level deeper? Will you ask the follow-up question, wait patiently for your turn to learn instead of just waiting for your turn to talk? Will you add courage to your conversations? Will you go there? Will you ask the questions that most people are far too afraid to ask? Will you ignore the stifling societal norms in favor of the true human connection that we all so desperately crave? Will you disregard social averageness and aim for social excellence? Will you add humility to your conversations? Will you assume that everybody you encounter shows up with a lifetime full of stories and lessons to teach you? Will you dig into those stories and lessons for your own benefit and for theirs? What if curiosity and uncertainty were the most underrated heroes of the human condition? In the last moments of this talk, will you reflect on how your own curiosity or lack thereof is what has probably led you to this point in your life? Will you reflect on the power, the intense power of curiosity and uncertainty in the world? Will you consider how curiosity has led us to all the great scientific discoveries, all the great advancements in culture, in music, and in art? Will you consider that curiosity and uncertainty might be the very things that we need to heal a broken and divided world? What if curiosity and uncertainty are the most underrated heroes of the human condition? What is the next question you will ask? Will you please make it a great one? Thank you.